Hello and good afternoon. I'm Reverend Faith and welcome to Roundtable Talk on LCBN TV. Today we have a wonderful guest joining us this afternoon, a very well and renowned gospel artist and also an influencer. I would say an influencer within the gospel industry. But before I bring her on, I want to talk about this time that we are in. You know, music is a means for us to always be connected to God, but also to worship God and to be able to communicate with Him through songs. And worship, I believe, is a very important a way to communicate not only to God but to people around us. Music is very important, and that's the reason why gospel has always been very successful at what it does, which is to communicate the gospel all over the world. And today, as part of the gospel in UK gospel industry, we want to bring on someone who has experience of not only launching CDs, doing her own music, but also influencing the industry by launching her own platform as Heart Song Live in Scotland. And she is also now helping creative within the industry to launch their social media and advertise their music all over the world. So I'm very delighted this afternoon to have with me my wonderful, exciting girlfriend called Eloho Efemuai. Hello, darling.
Hi, hello.
How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. I'm so happy to have you on my program this afternoon.
I'm so delighted to be here, even though I'm a bit nervous because
Why would you be nervous? You
I'm
do this
usually
all
the
the
one.
time.
I'm usually the one interviewing people and speaking to people. So I'm like, it's your turn now. But great to be here and great job you're doing. Well done, well done. I remember when this was all a dream, and
Yes. Yes.
now
I
it's
have to
life.
say, and I cannot start this interview without telling you my story with Eloho. She was sitting across me just around Christmas time, and you know, she was saying to me, "What are you doing next year?" and blah blah blah. And I'm so, "Oh, I'm not sure." She said, "Have you thought about starting a podcast?" And I said, "Well, I've been wanting to, but I'm a bit lazy about it." She's like, "Oh, you know, you'll be good at it." And as soon as I came back, her prophecy came to pass, and
Amen.
I started my podcast on UGN Radio and then on Heart Song, and this has just started a whole new media career because Madam prophesied into the atmosphere what we are seeing today. So yes, thank you so much, my darling.
You're welcome. You're
I owe it all
welcome.
to you.
Thank God.
Giving
Thank
me the
God.
courage to start.
Yeah, thank
Mm.
God. That's what I like to do, just to stir people up, when they have a gifting, just stir up their gifting and push, give a push. Yeah.
So tell me, how did you get into gospel? Actually, where do you come from? Because we all have a background somewhere in another country. So where is your background?
Okay, I'm originally from Nigeria, the Delta state. So I'm from Niger Delta, and I grew up in Warri. Actually, that was where I was born some years ago, over 4 decades ago. But yeah, I was born in Warri, grew up in Warri. My family is from Delta state, Isoko precisely, and I grew up in a family that is heavily into the arts. My dad was a lecturer as well as a writer and an actor. In fact, he was. I think he starred in the first was it colored black and white movie in Nigeria, something like that. So my dad was an actor. He was also a lecturer, and then all my brothers are into the movie industry in Nigeria. So I come from a media family, a background. I've got a background, yeah, in media. But I've always just wanted to do something else. I loved singing from a very, 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 very early stage. My sister tells me that at 9 months old, I started to sing. And
Oh,
if you tell me
wow.
a word, I just turn it into a song. So I think I've always loved to sing. For me, music is my safe place. I express myself. I find comfort, in music, in singing. So it just naturally just grew, that I call it gifting, talent, or whatever it is,
Mm,
just grew over the years. And uh, professionally, I didn't start doing music till like 2013, but I'd always served in music groups. Bring the camera down. Okay. I've always served in music groups. I've um I've been in choirs. I've been in a lot of choirs. I even started a choir myself. And there's someone who's here now, Rose Ocheme. Rose, you remember our group when we were in university? So, so yeah, I have always been in music industry, I'll call it that, or the
mm.
music ministry. So for me, it started way, 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 way back. But professionally, it didn't start till 2013 when I started working on my debut album, Arise. Yeah.
Mm. Wow. Okay. So you leave Nigeria, you come and live in the UK,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
yeah, go on.
Yeah, I left Nigeria in 2006. And before I left Nigeria, I had a dream, a vision, or yeah, I'll call it that, a dream, a vision. I was doing youth service back home in Nigeria because usually after your university, you get to serve the nation for 1 year.
Yeah.
So I was doing my youth service. And I was living with a cousin of mine, and I was just in the living room in my normal way. I picked up a microphone, and then I was singing to myself, just imagining that I was on stage somewhere, just singing
Like we all do. Yes.
as we all do. And in that moment, I had a dream. I had a vision, not sleeping kind of dream, but I saw this big, big, big platform stage, you would call it. Congregation, audience, whatever you want to call it. And I saw me leading. And in that atmosphere, I saw people getting saved, getting delivered,
Um,
getting healed. All sorts of things were just happening in that atmosphere. But I
mm,
didn't quite understand what it was. And so after my youth service, obviously, I got married after youth service. And then I went to serve in a church. And at that point, I shared the vision with my pastor then, and I said, "This is what I've seen, and this is what I would love to do." But of course, that didn't materialize till years later. So, of course, the early stage of marriages, I just focused on serving in the ministry back in Nigeria, the place of grace, where I was ordained as a pastor.
mm.
And we eventually had to leave Nigeria, as we all do, leave to look for greener pastures. And we left Nigeria in 2006. But one of the things I said when I was living in Nigeria, I was like, now my music is going to make sense, something like that, something around that. I was like, now
Yeah.
I can really, fulfill that passion, that calling, or whatever it is. So we came into the UK in 2006. We were in London for about 6 months, and then we moved to Aberdeen, where I lived for like 10 years.
Hmm.
And it was in Aberdeen that the ministry kicked off. And in 2011, actually, I had I had my twin children in December 2010. And I was before I finish, when we came into Aberdeen, joined the church, serving in that church. Oh, where's Reverend Faith? Can't see her.
No,
Uh,
here I'm just
okay.
you on the spotlight right now.
Okay. All right. So started to serve in a ministry in Aberdeen. And then in 2008, I did share the vision with my pastor then to say, this is the visions God's given me for a worship, something like that. But at that point, it didn't kick off. So 2 years after I shared that vision, I had the twins. And one of the nights I woke up to feed them. And there was this deep hunger in my heart. I was just crying. And I said, God, why am I feeling this way? I wanted more children. Now I have two, not just one. I've got two children. So why am I feeling I wasn't feeling complete, I just felt like there was something missing.
Yeah.
There was just this thing in me, and I was just crying all through the night. And the Holy Spirit just brought to my remembrance. I gave you a dream, I gave you a vision years ago. So what happened to it? And I was like, oh wow, really? So that's it, so something obviously was missing. And at that point I woke up and I said, okay, you know what, enough is enough. I'm going to do this. I don't know what it's going to take. I don't know what it's going to cost, but I'm going to step out. As long as it's a God vision, as long as it's a God dream, I know the provision will come and the help will come. And so I stepped out. I started doing Engage, as we all know it now. Back then I didn't have a name for it.
Before we get to Engage, I want to talk about the launch of the albums. How did the first album come together?
Okay, so after the first worship night I had a second one, and I had a terrible experience where I suffered from rejection.
Okay.
Yeah, I suffered from rejection, and that kind of affected me. And so for like 3-4 months, I couldn't do anything. I was just in that place where I was hurt. I was in pain, deep pain. And the only thing that kept me was music. The only thing that kept me was worship. I couldn't pray. I couldn't trust anyone. I was just in that place for about 4 months. So the only thing that kept me was music. And I heard in my spirit, I just had the sense that music has helped me. Music has comforted me. Music has delivered me. So it's now time for me to arise from whatever that depression was. It was time for me to arise and inspire other people, who may have suffered from whatever they have suffered, just to inspire them to say, hey, it doesn't matter what you've gone through. It doesn't matter what they've said to you or said about you. You can still survive. And so it was at that point I said, okay, God, I'm going to do it. Because initially I just said I didn't want to do music. I didn't want to do an album for the sake of doing an album. I didn't want to just put anything out there for the sake of doing it. But I wanted it to be as a tool, as a seed, that would be a blessing to other people, that will inspire people, that will cause people to like, yes, if Eloho can do it, then I can do it as well. So in 2013, I started to make music. I wrote a few songs. I had one producer who helped produce something and I didn't quite like it. And then I was in search, for someone who could write me songs, because I have the concept in my mind. I know what I wanted to say, but I'm someone who believes that, if you're not strong in an area, look for someone who can do it. There's no need, there's no point doing it all, there's no there's no point doing jack of all trades, So I was in search for someone who could write songs and a producer. So I was looking for two separate things. And eventually I found someone and we started to work on it. So it took me a year to work on my first album.
Wow, okay.
It took me a year to work on my first album, and it was released 2014 in March.
So where did you get the inspiration for the songs?
Where did I get the inspiration? I got the inspiration from everything that I had been through.
Okay.
Yeah. So life generally, the Bible, like the title of the album is Arise, and that's like the title track or something. And Arise, obviously, because I had been in that state of, I don't want to use the word depression because depression is heavy, but I had been in that state where I was unhappy, I was feeling unloved, I was feeling I just lost my sense of confidence. I was feeling helpless, but God helped me through that season.
come out of the depression? What helped you to come out of the depression? Was it the
Music.
music or was it the music?
The music. And
Okay.
of course, I wasn't just listening to any kind of music. I was listening to spirit-based music,
Mm-hmm.
words of scriptures.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember one of the songs that really helped me was "It's Not Over" by Israel.
Mm-hmm.
I always love that song because that's one of the songs that helped me during those times. So it was at that point I said, okay, so I want to arise, I want to come out from this place, and I want to shine. And
Mm-hmm.
so I just shared all of this with my producer, and we worked on 10 songs together. Obviously, one of the songs in there is a cover of a popular song that we know. Then two of the other songs, there's Holy Lord and Only You. Only You, I received it when I was on my way to my mom's funeral.
Yeah.
I was weeping, crying. My
Oh.
mom, my love, my mom, and then God gave me that song. Only You Will I Praise, Only You Will I Adore. Then Holy Lord. When I was pregnant with the twins, we didn't have any money to shop or anything, and I was heavily pregnant about 8 months, and
Mm.
hadn't bought anything at all for the kids. So I was there worried and crying, and I just started singing with all my heart. I'll praise you, I'll worship you. So
Mm.
that's how Arise was born.
Wow. Okay. So out of trouble, out of low mood, out of maybe lack of confidence, you wrote your first album. If you were to advise anyone who's now struggling today with um, their music ministry, not believing that God has called them to do that because they are going through a storm and they wondering whether they should invest their time in the ministry or whether they should recover first emotionally or whether they should just do all of it at the same time, but God will make it work. What would you advise someone who is in that situation to do?
Okay. My advice would be, we all have our different journeys. We
Mm,
all have our different callings. So what worked for me would not work for someone else. So
yeah.
for some people, they may want to grieve through. It depends on how God deals with you. You
Mm,
know, God dealt with me that way. I came out, and of course, it's not like when I came out, I was all strong. I came out in fear. I was still feeling all the lack of confidence, low self-esteem, not believing in myself. I still came out with that. But for some other person, the person may just want to wait and say, okay, until I'm strong. So my advice would be, work with God and how he deals with you. Don't go
mm,
ahead of him, and because I can give you an advice and say, okay, yes, you're going through it, come out now, come out of it. But probably that's not the way God wants to deal with you. So,
mm.
as an individual, your walk with God is important. So, you need to understand your timing and your seasons with God. That's what I would say.
Okay, so your advice would be to grieve, to listen to the body and to listen to the voice of God, to be
Yeah,
able
just
to.
to listen to the voice of God. If you want to grieve, that's fine. If you want to jump out at it, say, okay, yeah, I'm doing this, that's fine. But as long as you hear the voice of God and you listen to him.
That should be it. Okay. Coming out of depression, I think, is always a good way, a good incentive to start writing songs. I think when we come out of those kind of mood, we come out stronger, but we also have a very good, a renewed fire and relation in our relationship with God and our relationship with the Holy Spirit. And for me, in my times of darkness, I've always found that I would always come up with, like you said, a song that would encourage me on a daily basis so that I could relate with God, my pain, my disappointment, and my hurt, and through music, especially when you're a worshiper and it's your music is your all. Music ministers very powerfully, and is a good healer. And I think I am also of those people who, when I'm really going through a struggle, I don't just listen to music. I have to sing the music, because when
Yeah,
I sing
yeah.
the music, it really comes out of my heart and it takes all the darkness away. And then suddenly I'm starting to smile again. The joy returns, the peace returns. And in that moment, God is really working deep within my spirit. So I would encourage anyone who loves music to use that as a therapy. I think to be honest, music is my therapy. I don't deal with issues of life any other way. And I
Mhm.
remember even back in the day when I wasn't a Christian, the love songs and the deep songs were always the ones helping me to heal. So music has a way of ministering to the soul, and that's very important. So moving on from your first album, how did you get involved then with Engage? Was Engage after the first album, or
No.
how did that all come
So,
about?
so you
And
remember,
what is Engage for those who don't know?
yeah, you remember I said that when God had given me the vision, and then I hadn't done anything about it. And then in 2010, 2011, I woke up one night feeling, empty. That's the word. I woke up one night feeling empty, and God reminded me of the vision. So I stepped out in July 2011, and I
Mm,
started to do the worship concerts. So I gathered a few friends together to say, hey, guys, would you join me and do this? The whole purpose, the whole mission is to just stir up worship and
mm,
inspire other people to worship, and then coming together just to entertain the audience of one, and
mm.
seeing the miracles and the blessings that God showed me years ago, take place. So I started that in 2011. It's actually 10 years this year. uh, yeah,
Wow. Amazing.
2011, 2012. And so in 2012 was when I went through the phase where I suffered from rejection and I felt out of place. I felt like
Mm,
I didn't matter. I felt like all my efforts were in vain, So it was at that point when I came out, I recorded the album in 2013. I didn't release it in 2013, but I recorded it in 2013. So Engage actually started before I released the album. So it was in 2013 when I was praying, and a few of my friends who probably are watching, remembered I was worried because I didn't think anybody was going to attend it because I had left the church where I was. And
mm.
felt like, okay, when you leave a church, everybody just feels like you are the,
I want to talk to you anymore. Yeah.
yeah.
Mm,
So it was in 2013 when I was praying and asking God what's going to happen. I was speaking to friends. I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do. And I remember a prophet did say to me that if God called you, if God really called you, now is the time to prove it.
wow.
Are you going to just chicken out because of rejection, because of lack of support? And I said, okay, God, you did ask me to do this. So whatever it takes, whatever may come, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it in fear. So in 2013, when I was praying and believing, the word engage came, when we engage with him, engage with other people, network with other people. So that's how engage. So engage is simply a worship night where we just encourage one another to worship, just stir people up to worship and inspire other people to worship.
Wonderful. We have a question on the live from Patience Ogunbona, who says, how do you deal with comparing yourself or the fear of being compared to when you are in ministry?
Okay, that's a very, very good question because I remember when I released my first album, I heard all sorts of things. One person told me, "Oh, you don't sound like Mary Mary." Another one compared me to somebody in Nigeria. Oh, somebody said you are not like Onos in Nigeria. But then I went back, of course, all of those things hurt, whether
Mm,
we like them or not. We're humans, and that really hurt me because like I've done my best,
mm,
But I went back to my place of safety, and I came to realize that, God made me me.
yeah.
If he wanted to make me like Onos, he would have given me Onos's voice.
Yeah.
If he wanted to make me like Mary, he would have given me their voice. So he made me this way for a reason. And I don't necessarily have to, we're not called to everybody. We're not sent to everybody. And so if the people who like Ono's kind of voice don't like my voice, it's okay. You know, not everybody likes coffee, not everybody likes tea, but some people like hot chocolate. So I can be the hot
Yeah.
chocolate. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Mm.
So the way I dealt with feeling like, trying to compare myself was to know my place in God, to know
Mm.
my identity in God, to know that, okay, God has called me. Yes, there are times where you actually feel bad because you really like, but that person is doing better in ministry, or that kind of a thing. But what has helped me over the years is going back to the place of my calling and like reminding myself why I am doing what I'm
Yeah.
doing, my purpose, what is my purpose? Who am I supposed to be a blessing to? And that has helped me over the years. But like I said, we all feel it. I still feel tempted sometimes to want to compare. But I've learned over the years to love me for me,
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
just accept me for
Important.
me the way
Yeah.
God has created me. I mean, if he wanted me shorter, he would have made me shorter. If he
Yes.
wanted me to have a tiny voice, he would have made me have it. So, yeah, that's how I've dealt with it.
Okay, so you accepted yourself by realizing that God made you special by being unique, and I
Yes.
think it's very important that we put that in our mind, because a lot of the time we're being compared to other people. A lot of the time you're being compared to other voices as a minister, and I think many people are trying to sound like other people when they're producing their albums, but I don't think that's what God wanted. If he wanted a copycat, if he wanted a clone, he would have created you just like that
Yeah.
person. And I think sometimes we need to accept that we are a gift to humanity by being who we are, and God
Yeah.
wanted us to be that way, so that we could, as you said, impact our niche, impact the people in our own community.
In
We
our
are not
own
sent
community.
to everyone, like you said,
Yeah.
and realizing that yes, it is it is a gift to be able to touch even your own community, even your own village. I always say, even if it's not the white community, it's the black community, the Chinese community, or whether it's just your village or your mother tongue, whether you're Yoruba or whether you're Tui or whether you are French like me. So it depends on where God's sending you, and sometimes those comparisons don't really matter, because the person that you're worshiping is God, and those songs are lifted to him, and therefore, does it matter if you don't sound like Mary? Not really, because God doesn't want you to sound like them.
God doesn't want me to sound that way.
Otherwise he would
Yeah.
have found you and made you
Yeah.
the third Mary or something. So yes, that's
I am, I
wonderful.
am, I am the original version of you.
You're
Why would
original.
I want to be a copy of somebody else?
Exactly,
Yeah, but
exactly.
the truth is that whether we like it or not, the temptation is there. I must say that the temptation is there to want to compare yourself. Rick Warren says something, that comparison is like a thief of your joy,
Mm.
because if you feel like you are doing more than somebody, that is pride. You begin to say, oh, but I'm better than that person. And then you begin to feel like, on the other side, oh, I'm not good enough, I'm not as good as that person. You're just robbing yourself of your joy. So the truth is just being content in who God has called you to be. And thankfully, there are verses in the scriptures that help.
Mm.
I love that scripture that says, I am fearfully and
Mm.
wonderfully made.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, God knew me even before, even before my parents thought about me or
Mm.
knew about me. God knew me and he formed me
Yeah.
in my mother's womb. So yeah.
So accepting yourself, accepting that you are not like just everybody else, but that you're unique, and I think that's powerful, especially when you're standing on stage and everybody's looking at you to see if whether you're going to sound like the next Beyonce gospel style, and you said come out with your own sound.
Yeah.
I think it's good to be able to accept it, yourself.
And
So
then
you
it,
started, yeah.
yeah, let's say it's a process. It
Mm,
just doesn't happen. It's a process, you know.
yeah.
I mean, I've not always been this strong and
Mm,
confident and so
yeah.
sure of myself, you know.
Yeah.
It's a process. And as long as you're willing to go through the process, as long as you're willing to let God, you know, deal with you through the process, you will come out being the 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 exact person that God wants you to be, the best version of yourself, not a copycat of somebody else. So accepting, yes, I'm sure someone might be like, okay, but I've accepted myself and I still feel this way. Still, it's normal to feel that way. But what's not normal is staying there and being comfortable there and like, okay, well, what difference would I make? That person is doing it anyway, you know. So,
Mm,
but just trusting the process, going with God. Yeah.
mm. So from Engage, are you having an anniversary this year?
Okay, so yes, we plan to have the date had been fixed for the 26th. We're still seeing, we're still praying, we're still trusting with the lockdown, with coronavirus and all of that. Even when we come out of all of this, of course, we know that there are going to be restrictions in place.
Yeah.
So we're just going to see how it goes. But we're not under any pressure
Yeah.
to like, oh, we must mark the 10 years, you know. We're not under any pressure, but we're just trusting God. And yeah, my gosh.
Okay, wonderful. So then you got engaged, but the other big thing that you do is Heart Song Live. How did that come about?
Okay, so if you remember when I started talking, I come from a media family. I've
Yeah.
always wanted to do TV. I remember I actually wrote a proposal on my TV show. I wanted to do TV. I wanted to do TV. Got my pastors then involved. I was like, yeah, I want to do TV. I even had to start a TV program, which didn't which didn't go through eventually. But I knew that. Uh, I think I believe that I've always known that I've been called into the media ministry because I'm from a media family, you
Mm,
know, and I I just love, you know, what you can do with media and through media.
mm, yeah.
For me, it's a tool to share my message, you know, to encourage people, to inspire people. And so, of course, I was speaking to someone who's watching right now, and she said something that we evolve through the process, you know. So
Mm,
everything that we do is leading
it's,
you to that
yeah. Yeah.
place where God has ordained you to be. So
Mm,
every step that I've taken from way back, from joining choir, from being a head usher, from being a pastor or minister, it's God leading me to this place where, Eloho, I want you to be placed
mm,
in the media ministry, you
yeah.
know.
Mm.
And it's shocking because growing up, I was the shyest, the if there's any word like that, I was very timid.
Yeah.
Of course, I didn't have any confidence in myself. So, media, you know. But then, after I released my first album, um, a few people had said, "Oh, Eloho, you need to start a radio." I was like, "Radio? No, no radio." And I got invited by a few radio stations to be a radio broadcaster, but I turned it all down
Mm,
because I didn't think I had anything to say that anybody would listen to,
mm,
you
yeah.
know. So instead, I started blogging. What I started doing was collecting people's testimonies and just sharing them on a blog. So one Christmas, you know how every 31st night we're praying to God and say, oh, we write down our goals, our dreams, and
Mm,
visions for the year. Do you know, it was after I even set up Heart Song Live, I realized that I had written radio station in there. I forgot about it completely, you know. But I started doing a radio show in one of the churches in Aberdeen. They invited me on their radio station. And I thought, what show can I do? So I transferred my blog to a show. I called it I Testify with Eloho.
mm,
And you know, through that process of time, one thing that I knew that I always wanted to do was set up a studio. I didn't think it was radio. I wanted to set up a studio, a television studio, where people can come and record their videos. of course, my TV talk show, I always just see myself in my studio with people in the studio, and we're having this talk show. And so I also wanted to, because I'm a singer, I wanted to have a recording studio where I can put my own songs and get other people to record their songs. So these were the things that, but I think, like I said, God uses everything as long as you're open and you're willing, He gave one 5, he gave one 2, he gave one 1. So if the 5 he's giving you, you're using it, he'll give you more, So I believe that because I was already using the talents that he gave me, he said, okay, now you need to step into the next phase. So and because my dream and my desire for Engage was not just to end in the concert hall. I wanted us to have a space where we could meet, where we could network, where we could fellowship together, where we could just bond together, come and learn about worship, come and all of that. Yeah. So I started to do the radio show, and through that process of time, one of the days my husband listened to me on the show. I was like, my goodness, I didn't know you sounded like that. I was like, yeah. He was like, now, because we had been talking because I recorded my second album in my house in Aberdeen.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I recorded my second album. I just bought a few equipment. And so he now said, now is the time for us to set up your recording studio and the radio station. I know you want to do TV. So of course, Heart Song is a ministry, and it's a creative ministry, music and media. So yes, we're doing the worship concerts. It's like we evolved to the next phase of the ministry, which was to set up the radio station. And for me, really, I set up the radio station because I realized as an artist, when I first started, there were not as many platforms in the UK.
There still isn't anyway.
There still isn't, to support, independent artists. So I thought about it. I have sort of been able to build a network, I've been able to build something that I think our community will benefit from. So if you're an upcoming artist, here's the platform. We can advertise your music. We can interview you and all of that. So I really wanted to be able to support upcoming and even established artists. I also wanted to be able to communicate and express the joy and the love of God using, this tool, this radio station as a tool. So that's how Heart Song Live was birthed. And I remember when I was going to start it and I was going for different kind of names. What should I call it? What should I call it? Thank God for some young people I work with. And it's like, rather than, creating a new brand, it's under the ministry. So why don't you just, so that's how Heart Song Live was birthed, to support, to encourage, to spread joy, to spread love. And we've just seen it grow and grow and grow and grow. And it's growing and it's growing. Yeah.
So if I'm an up-and-coming artist today, what is your radio able to help me with?
For an upcoming artist, what we're able to help with is, one, we're able to help you design your, I'll call it your kit, your press kit. So we're able to help you.
Going on to the Heart Song Live at the moment.
Yeah. So yeah, we're talking Heart Song Live because we do that. We're able to help you design your music flyer, to write you a press release, because I know that upcoming artists, you just go in there, you produce a song, and then you just think the whole world should just, oh yeah, God gave me the song. Yes, God gave you. We know. Thank you.
Everybody's gonna come and see it. Yes.
Exactly. So we help young artists, upcoming artists, to just package themselves properly, so that they're able to stand at par with other people. So that what that means is we can help you, if you want us to, create your artwork, your designs, your press release, help you get it onto all the digital platforms, and help you create different designs and stuff like that, and also play it on our station. And then because we work with other media houses, we're in partnership. We're also able to say, hey, this is our artist who just released. Is it good enough for your platform? So we're able to do that for upcoming artists as well as established artists. Yeah, as well as established artists. In 2018, what we did with Engage was give back, because I thought that we were at that phase where we needed to just give back. So we were able to, we ran a competition, and then we're able to give the gift of a single to a group, to whoever won, and a group won it. And I think we released that single early this year because it took a while for production and all of that. So we're able to put it all together, put it on iTunes for them, and just put it. Yeah, so we're able to interview you as well. But really, really, my heart is to support. That is my heart, to just support in any way that I can, especially with your ministry. Yeah.
Oh, wonderful. And that is not for just people in Scotland, obviously.
No. It's people all over. Do you know, I was saying to one of my friends 2 days ago, there's this young man in Canada who is, I don't know, that guy is like, I'll call him my repeat customer. Anytime he's releasing a song, he's like, hey, ma'am, I've got a new song coming out. Every time. He's just released a single yesterday, I believe, so anywhere from all over the world you can, because it's an online radio. That means we can reach anybody anywhere in the world. So wherever you are in the face of the earth, you can get in touch. Yeah,
you can get it done. So that's the Heart Song Live, what we call it, artist support. But then I see that you've now started to help creatives and people who are in the creative. How did that come about again? I know it's an offshoot of other things that you were doing, but why social media?
So social media again. God is just amazing. He's just faithful because he uses everything. When I released my album, what helped me was social media. That was what helped me. Social media. I as soon as I was going to release my album, I started to study how best to put my music out there. And he kept talking about social media. So I was big on Twitter, Facebook. I started with my Facebook, and that really helped me reach places that I will never be able to get to, So in 2015, I said, okay, now that social media has helped me, I want to help other people who don't know how to use social media. One. Secondly, who feel they are too shy. And I can't be on social media. No. So I wanted to help them. And I actually, after I released my album in 2014, I actually helped someone else release her album like 4 or 5 months after, So in 2015, I thought that, okay, now that I've released my album, I've learned how to use social media. I want to be able to master it. I want to be able to qualify in it. So I went to study digital marketing.
Oh, you did? Oh, wow.
Yes.
How long is it?
My project was going to be on how to brand artists properly for social media. Yeah. So I studied that in 2015, and in 2016 I did a specifically social media marketing diploma in Digital Marketing Institute. So everything at the heart of everything I do is to support, is to add value. So and that's the thing with me, is anything that I have learned or anything that I have been through, I want to help other people who are struggling there. I see that a lot of artists till date still suffer with their social media. Till date don't know how to use social media relationships.
It takes so long to learn. It takes
till
so long.
date don't know how to do. And I see them, I'm like, seriously, why are you doing this? A few people have also said, okay, there's one sister now, I don't know if she's watching, she had been releasing songs. And I was like, you're just releasing songs. People should know about it, So here's this person's number. Contact this person. They will help you to be able to put out your song. So that's where all the social media came in, because it worked for me. I saw the power in social media. And I think when I started using social media, people were like, Eloho, you're always on social media. Yeah, I was like, but now everybody's on social
Everybody
media.
on social media,
Everybody, you know,
especially with the lockdown, like
especially with
never
the
before.
lockdown,
Yes.
everybody's there. So it came out of that place again where I had used it, I had seen the benefits, and I think that you all can benefit from it as well.
Mm, mm, mm.
So that's where social media came in. But I've gone on the past 2 years. I've gone on to also support other businesses with
Okay.
their social media.
Mm,
So it's not just limiting it now to creatives, because uh, over the years, for a long time, all I wanted to do was just give and support, which is not bad. But there's a business side to everything.
mm.
And that was where I was missing out.
Yeah.
Until I had to be able to support Heart Song Live
Yeah.
on its own, because my husband was helping me paying all the bills. Yeah, I've got to pay for subscription. I've got to pay internet bills. I've got to pay this bill, pay that bill, pay that bill. When my
Mm.
husband now said, "Hey, babe, this thing has got to sustain itself," I was like,
Yeah.
"Ooh, okay, I've got this passion. I've got this talent. People can." And then I now saw that the same thing I was doing for people, other people were charging money to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
like, "Girl,
Yeah.
you got to wise up."
Yeah. The light bulb just came up. I could make some money from this.
Yeah, you've got to wise up. And so that's where it all began. So now I'm still helping creatives. I'm still helping entrepreneurs. I'm still helping coaches, businesses, just to be able to help them with their social media, either manage it or give them a strategy that, okay, do this, it will work for you. If it doesn't work, well. But lately, because I'm the kind of person that I want to do something, I want to do it well, I want to know exactly how to do it. So when I started the business, I realized that social media management was quite a big, and I'm much more than just a social media manager. If you
Mm.
know what I mean, I'm
Yeah.
much more than a social media strategist. I'm much more than a singer. I'm much more than a broadcaster. All of
Okay.
these things are just the tools that I use in my business, in my ministry.
Mm.
So when people, I've always had the trouble whenever I go out and people ask me, "So who are you?" I start to introduce myself. I'm a broadcaster. I'm a singer. I'm a this. I'm a that. But then I start.
Multi-talented, Eloho.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm multi-talented, but I'm much more than all of that. But at the heart of all I want to do is just to help and support and be a blessing to my world.
Mm-hmm. I think it's great that you recognize that your gifting is to impact the world. I've been teaching on that quite a lot recently. That whatever God has given us is for us to impact our communities, for us to impact the people around us. And whilst we can make money, and whilst we can make a living and become very successful at it, at the heart of what we do to be within the purpose of the plan of God within the overall humanity is to use our gift and our talent to impact the world. So I'm quite happy that that's what you are doing, and you're doing it so well, girl. Such an
Thank you.
encouragement. So to all the other people out there, women and men who, like you, were a young, maybe insecure, so lacking a bit of confidence, young girl who came to the UK from Nigeria. And now we have this powerhouse businesswoman sitting here. What's the journey? What is who is Eloho? It's who is this woman today?
Okay. Well, Eloho is just this passionate, crazy. Some people call me crazy. I remember one of my pastors in Aberdeen was like, "You are crazy. You know that?" Yes. So Eloho is just someone who's really passionate about
Mm.
God, passionate about the people she loves, and I can be loyal to a fault.
Yeah, yeah, same
But
here. I
I
know.
can be loyal to a fault, and I'm someone who has experienced the grace of God. I've seen God just work in me, with me, and through me, and all I just want to do is inspire my world. All I want to do is influence my world. All I want to do is impact someone's life, that if this shy, timid girl who suffered from lack of confidence, low self-esteem, if I can be here, doing all of this, then you can do it too. I was fearless. I didn't even see value in myself. People, and the good thing, the funny thing is that on the outside, people see me and like, wow, oh. But inside, I was battling some demons,
Yeah.
So God has everything that has happened to me. I think it's been orchestrated by God. It
Yeah.
didn't. It didn't feel good when it happened. I disliked it when it happened because I mean, Pastor Ola, my friend, will tell you. Naturally, I don't like to talk. I
Mm.
don't. Yeah, I'm quiet. People think that I'm this loud, and I'm not that.
Yeah.
you know.
Introvert. Yeah.
I'm not that. I told someone one time, I'm like, I'm an introvert, extrovert, or something. Extroverted introvert, extroverted
Introvert.
introvert.
Yes.
I like my space. I can be in a world all by myself. But if God can give me the voice that He's given me, I remember in when did I get married? I got married in 1999, and in 2000, a prophet, Delvan, for all those who know Chris Delvan, he called me up and said, God is going to give you a voice. God is going to give you such a voice. And I thought it was a singing voice,
Mm. Mm.
because I'm a singer.
Yeah.
So
Singer.
I thought it was a singing voice. But if despite all my flaws, all my mistakes, all my fears, all my worries, all my insecurities, God can still give me that voice, then
Mm.
He can do it for you. It doesn't matter,
Amen.
what is happening in your life or what has happened. Just don't stay in that place. Just don't remain in that place. There's so much more in you. There's more that God wants to do in you and through you if you will just only let Him. And that's
Mm.
why I'm on a mission. I'm on a mission to bring women out, because
Yeah.
I know that sometimes when you get to the age as I am, some people even start from 30. Oh, I'm 30 now, I'm too old. No, you're never too old.
That's
You're
all.
never too old, you're never too young. So that's me. I love God. I love my husband. He's the best. Pastor Ola will say no, yeah, her husband is the best. But I love my husband. He's the best. He has supported me from day one. We have
Mm.
our fights, yeah, but I know that he's one person that believes so much in me and is
Yeah.
willing
And I
to
think
just
that's important.
invest. Yeah, he's willing to invest in, as long as I just say, sweetheart, I think. He's like, you're
Mm.
always thinking,
Money,
yeah.
money. But it's
My,
amazing that you're able to manage all these ministries and still be a mother. We have two beautiful children.
I actually have three.
Oh yes, three. I
Yeah,
only talk about the ones that
yeah,
I
because those are your,
yeah,
they're
those are
like
mine.
your birthday people. You guys are the same thing, yeah.
But
So,
yes, as a mother, any advice?
as
Advice
a
for
mother,
asking women, powerful,
take one
influencer.
take take one day at a time. You are not a
Okay.
superhero.
Mm,
I said, I said to my kids 2 days ago, "Mommy is on strike." I, I would just say take one day at a time. It's only by the grace of God that we do what we do. Take one day at a time. Ask for help where you need help.
yeah.
Ask the kids to help you. Oh, my kids, they work a lot. I get them to work.
Mm, mm,
Mommy
yes.
is tired, you do this, but ask for help, and just don't ever feel like because the temptation is there when you have to do all of these things and still be a mom, still be a wife. The truth is that there's multitasking is a myth,
Mm,
so you have to give your attention to
to some.
whatever you're giving your attention at the same time. So these days I'm trying, when I'm with my kids, to be with my kids.
Yeah.
You understand? So not always, because I mean they've complained. My husband has even complained. You're always on your phone. You know?
Yeah.
When I'm with my kids, be with my kids, but don't ever feel like, I wish I could. Yes, we all want to do more for our kids. We want to spend more time. Funny enough, this year I said, God, I want to spend more time with the kids. Now here we are, locked down.
Yes,
Answered
isolation.
my prayers, you know. I remember a few years when my youngest son was growing up, and I couldn't be there for him as my eldest son. Sorry, I couldn't be there for him as much as I wanted to be. Sometimes I'll be crying because I'm a bad mom.
You just like me, you're a crier, don't you?
Oh yeah, I cry a lot. I cry a lot. So, but I'll just say, take one day at a time. You know, slow down. You're not in competition with anybody.
Anybody.
You're not in competition with anybody. Be the mom to your kids. Be the wife to your husband. Don't say, "Oh, I want to treat my kids the way Reverend Faith treats her kids." Oh, there's not something.
Yeah.
No, you
That's
know, we're different. God created us all different. So, be there for them when you are with them. I did something in during Christmas, which changed the whole dynamics of my relationship, even with my husband and my children. I completely switched off my. You remember, I told you I was going off. You know, when
yeah.
we were supposed to start your show, I was like, I'm going off. I'm not doing anything. You know,
Mm.
and it was amazing because they value that time. So when you are with your kids, be with your kids. When you're doing your business, do your business. And I'm
And
still trying. I'm still learning. Oh,
the
I'm still
learning.
learning. I'm
The
still
learning.
learning.
So what's the future for Eloho and Hot Song or Hot
Ooh,
Song?
we've got big, 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 big dreams, big vision. So right now we have sort of uh, renovated the studio
Okay.
space that we have. So within the next few weeks, months, soon as we come out from lockdown, it's going to be open to people who want to do videos, who want to do podcasts, who want to do whatever in the creative industry. And that TV show is going to start soon. So that's what's next. We are partnering with different organizations to be able to run more community-based projects.
Mm.
And we Heart Song, the ministries, has also started a women's initiative. It's called Adelphi. So all of that is happening within the business side. Uh, I am personally rebranding and
Mm.
re-strategizing how
Okay.
to be able to offer and deliver my services better, targeting women of faith who have like me, you know, or who are like me, still struggling with those inner demons, whatever it is that's holding them back from creating the life that they love. And
Mm.
then yeah, just we're just seeing how, you know, God is just growing us, and we're evolving in the whole process and
Evolving.
transforming. Yeah.
Oh, amen, amen. Well, thank you so much. I really enjoyed our interview. If you want to be in touch with Eloho or Hot Song Life, what do they need to do?
Oh, I'm everywhere. Just
You're
type.
everywhere.
Once you type Eloho Efemuai,
You'll just appear out of
I
nowhere.
just appear. But I'm Eloho Efemuai across all platforms: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube. Eloho Efemuai everywhere, so you can find me. And once you find me, you can find Heart Song because it's everywhere as well.
Lovely. And if they're artists and they want to be um on your show, what do they need to do?
They just need to send an email to info@heartsonglive.co.uk. Info at
Okay.
heartsonglive.co.uk. Yep.
To submit their music. Lovely. Thank you so much for coming on the show today. We love
Thank you
you.
for having me.
Miss
Thank you
you.
so much.
And
Miss
I'll
you
be
too.
coming
You're
to
doing
see
a
you
great
soon.
job. You're doing an amazing job. So proud of you. Well done.
You so much. Thank you. You're the inspiration behind it all. Well, if you want Eloho to support you, as she has supported me to come up on this show and come up and do other things for God, I encourage you to contact her. She's available on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Her name is online now, Eloho Efemuai. Otherwise, you can just type in info@heartsonglive.com and give her a call and just ask her any question. How can I do how can I start my ministry? How can I put my album together? What song, what title should I find for my songs? Um, what platform should I use to promote my music? And if you're a woman who wants advice on how to start your business, how to overcome your fears and build your confidence to start a project, because I believe that God has given all of us gifts and talents, and we are not meant to stay at home sitting on them, because we know from the story of the 10 talents that God is going to ask us what we've done with them. So if you have a gift, if you have a talent, you need some support, you need some mentoring, give her a call and have a chat. Everything starts with a chat. Everything starts
Everything
with chat.
starts with a chat.
I started with a chat and I'm in front of you today. So, just give her a call, have a chat with her, have a coffee, and see what she's going to advise you, and start.
Just start. Take action. Take
Start.
action. Take action.
Take
Take
action.
action. Take
Take
action.
action. Thank you so much, Eloho. Have a wonderful
Thank
afternoon.
you too. God
Take
bless
care.
you.
God
Bye.
bless you. Bye.
Bye.
Well, it was wonderful having her online. Again, her details will be on our page on LCBN UK. You can check Eloho's details on our page, and obviously you can rerun the show today and have a look at the rerun and write down the phone numbers. I think her details will also be on my page this week. So when we finish, I will put her details on my page as well, so you can get hold of her. But be encouraged. The message from her is Eloho grew from lack of confidence to a businesswoman today, having her hand in many pots. And her advice to women today is to arise and shine, and to use the gift and talents that God has given them to impact your community, to impact your world. And if you need her advice, she's there to help you. Well, we're coming to the end of the program. I want to encourage you again to share this program, to encourage another woman that you know who's sitting on her talent, who you know is gifted, and who's just lacking that little bit of confidence to start something. Send them that show today and encourage them to do something. Remain blessed, remain safe, continue to stay at home and save life. And until next week, take care of yourself. If you have any question, you know how to email info@lcbnuk. See you then. Take care. Bye-bye.